Hello, film friends, friends of film, and everyone in between. Welcome to the Film Folklore Podcast Summer Miniseries. And we've got a fantastic cast for y'all here in this summer's miniseries, which we're just going to call the Summer Film Club. I am Jed Props, along with Heather Ray Costumes.
How you doing?
Justin Sound.
Hello.
And returning fan favorite for this exercise, Collier the Tank POC.
Hello, hello, hello.
I guess it would be just tank. It wouldn't be a the. Is that right?
It depends who you ask, what time of year it is.
That's fair. And shout out for Zoe and Chris that couldn't be with us for this. Chris almost did it with us, but then he fell down yet another hole. We really need to figure out how to get him to stop falling down holes. So, moving on, I just want to kind of quickly say what it is we're going to kind of do here. So, if for anyone who's been listening, it's our second summer miniseries. Last summer, we did a big love letter of sorts to the Rocky and Creed franchise. So if you have not listened to that yet, I highly recommend it. It was well received, and it was a lot of fun to do. And maybe a good quick question for Justin. How do you feel about the Rocky and Creed franchise now, a year later?
I still love it.
Yeah, it's still the same. It stayed fresh for you.
Yeah, I want to rewatch it at some point. I think it's been about a year, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, about a year.
It's about that time.
Yeah.
Although I've been listening to the soundtrack and variations of it nonstop. You know, I have a playlist now that I use for workouts and yard work.
Yeah. And yet another reminder that waking up to it as your alarm really does start the day.
It is still my morning alarm.
I mix it up. But yeah. I've been into the 90s hip hop, like waking me up these days. So
nice. And so for this summer's miniseries, we're going to do a book club type of setup, but with movies. So we will reveal the next film at the end of each episode to give you, the listener, a chance to go watch it before the next episode, if that's a thing you'd like to do with us as these release. I will be opening up each episode with this reminder about what we're doing this round, just to keep the why in perspective. I asked the group to pick a film that can check the majority of these boxes. It's why or a large reason why you wanted to get into film. It's your favorite movie. It embodies much of who you are and can be attributed to what you strive for or how you carry yourself in the industry. Other people are troglodytes if they don't appreciate this movie. It represents your favorite genre or one of your favorite genres. It is what other movies of its kind would be jealous of if it showed up to a party of similar movies. You get the idea. On and on and on. What is your favorite movie or one of your favorites? That's basically what this is. So we're going to get into all of that. And as I mentioned in the teaser, we're kicking this off with my episode, which is the comedy classic Airplane. And I'm really excited for this because I can't get enough of this movie. I've seen it. I can quote this movie, I think, from front to back pretty well.
Is that the correct title?
Airplane?
Yeah. Exclamation point.
I thought it was Airplane.
Airplane.
Airplane!
Yes. In my notes, it's hilarious because it bothered me if I didn't put the exclamation mark in there because I know it's there. And I'm actually, if there's trivia I didn't know about this movie, I learned it looking stuff up. And there is a very specific reason why it has the exclamation. And we're going to get into it. So I guess a fun aside, if any listeners want to get hammered while listening to this, drink every time you hear the word airplane. Here we go. All right. So I'm going to start off by saying why I chose this. And I, since an early age, have essentially been a student of comedy, I guess, to put it mildly. I've said it before on this podcast that if I could only work on comedies the rest of my life, I would be in heaven, and
100%.
It certainly wouldn't be work. And a fun fact about making a successful comedy, as everyone here knows, this doesn't guarantee the success for your film, but it is certainly a necessary ingredient, and that is a happy set. Open question to everyone here. How do you make a happy set? What are some examples?
I mean, just straight up respect. Everybody respects everybody, and it's nice to be acknowledged and acknowledge other people for good work. And I mean, that's the basis, I think, the foundation of a good set.
Respecting the crew, respecting whoever's next to you, integrity.
I think for me, it's communication, making sure that everybody is staying, in healthy communication. Communication.
Like that?
All of a sudden, I have a list. I don't know.
I have no idea why you had marbles in your mouth. What else?
Food.
Yeah, craft service. Oh, you got to have Ace's craft service.
That always makes the set happy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or very sad and angry if it's not good.
And there's a fundamental reason for all this. It's not actually just being attentive to your crew and treating them like humans. It's also because you create that atmosphere, and then your actors also can play off of the atmosphere. If you have, anyone's been in a situation, it's like I don't know, the average dentist's office. When you go in there, you don't feel like it's a joyful place to be, and it's just, there's some moods and atmospheres that are just there by stereotype or for some other reason. And when it comes to a comedy, you want to have fun. And so
I feel like doing a comedy, making a comedy really, see, I'm catching it from
Again with the
Oliver.
marbles.
Oh my
There's that
God.
communication.
It's been a minute since I've been behind a microphone. My goodness. But it helps. A comedy kind of revs you towards some fun just to get right from the get-go.
yeah, and by all accounts, this was a happy set. They were having fun. I think for a lot of people, this movie was, because it was sort of unprecedented. And a little of the first of its kind, unless you're counting Kentucky Fried Movie. I think we'll get into it, but even some of the actors didn't fully understand like what was going on, and anyone that worked on it, though, even the guys that didn't understand at the time, in hindsight, were saying what a delight it was working on it.
Well, you also have a lot of actors that were very like straight men. Like they did not do comedies. I mean, this was Leslie Nielsen's first comedic role. I think it was Lloyd Bridges. Not Lloyd.
Yeah,
yes, Lloyd.
Yep,
Lloyd Bridges.
Yep, Lloyd.
First.
They made a conscious decision to hire straight men.
Yeah, you got Robert Stack, you got Peter Graves, and they all did serious dramas before this, and they were. And who was it that wasn't sure about it? It was Lloyd Bridges.
Lloyd Bridges and Peter Graves were both kind of like, I'm not getting it. But I believe
once they found out that Leslie Nielsen was doing it, they're like, oh, well, wait. And that just launched an entire different career for Leslie Nielsen too, because I think Leslie Nielsen can do no wrong myself. In comedies especially. He's
actually
hilarious.
And I invite anyone to go back and look at it. I watched Leslie Nielsen's SNL monologue from when The Naked Gun had come out. Because of the new Naked Gun movie, that kind of stuff is cropping up in YouTube suggestions. And it's as if I watch other comedy stuff on YouTube. But the monologue's hilarious. The long short is that he's basically saying, I'm not funny. They just make me in funny situations. And he said, and I'll give you an example. And basically, any example he gave, he's just would say a line normal, like, this isn't one of the actual things, but it's just like, this is a good hamburger. And then he goes, now I'm going to say it funny. This is a good hamburger. And so that's kind of what he was doing in the monologue. It's like it was funny because
he's so straight. I mean, the way he says it so straight makes it so funny.
Well, and of course his face, his deadpan face, and all that kind of stuff. So it just there's something about, and I think he just wanted to do comedy because he had gone to is it magician school?
Did he really?
Yeah, that's why, and we'll get there, but that's why the egg trick, when she has the eggs in her mouth, he was able to do that with the sleight of hand because he was already experienced in doing that kind of stuff. Oh. So he's a prankster on set. Apparently it was something he was already known for. Is just he was always either a bad guy or a tough guy, which is hilarious to think of a younger Leslie Nielsen as a tough guy. There's a random episode of Columbo that Leslie Nielsen is in the beginning of the episode and he's dead within like 5 minutes of the episode. And when I see that kind of stuff, I got to go, oh, right, this is before he was like big, known Leslie Nielsen. He was just a working actor at this time. So seeing him get randomly offed, in 5 minutes of a TV show, you're like, oh, that's jarring. There's a lot of those kind of things, like young Tim Robbins, I think in one of the first episodes of Moonlighting, gets killed in the first 2 minutes. And I waited the whole episode for Tim Robbins to come back when I realized, oh, wait, no, I think he's actually dead. And he was just a nobody at the time.
Well, it's fun to see the people that
before they were stars.
Yeah, before they were. Like, I noticed for the first time that the guy who plays Mike in Breaking Bad is in Airplane.
Yeah,
he's the one who checks the turkey.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I didn't notice that.
Yeah. I mean, I could only see him from the side, but even still, I was like, oh, yeah, that's that guy. I don't know his real name, his actual name.
So one of the things that I love about this movie, or even this type of movie, is how universal it can be. I mean, there are certainly a lot of references to now obscure things, like a 1970s coffee commercial or an old Notre Dame football story and subsequent Ronald Reagan movie. But the relentless visual gags...
They talk about an Anita Bryant concert.
Right. Right. But the visual gags and the tone are so perfectly delivered that anyone will relate to something in the movie. And, I mean, whether you want to call it, potty humor or just the slapstick that it is, the spoof material, it's very universal because it's a lot of visual gags. And that, if you're ever making a movie, that's something good to keep in mind, because anyone on planet Earth will relate to something that is a visual gag. We all are people at the end of the day, and the same things are funny at the end of the day. I just randomly thought of Apocalypto. In the beginning, they play the joke on the other guy in the tribe that they basically gave him an itching powder in his crotch as like they got him, it was a get. And
pulls you in right away.
It pulls you in right away.
Yep.
It was fantastic.
Oh, these are just
Hundreds of years ago, still us, same brains. I don't believe that they set out to make a comedy masterpiece, of course, but like I alluded to with Jaws, sometimes the film gods just make it so. And I have one other reason for choosing this, but I'll save that for the end. So a little film background.
Before we move on, though, I mean, I do want to say there are so many things in this movie that have got into the vernacular.
Oh, yeah.
That there are people who say things that I don't even think they know where it's from.
To your point, one of my favorite lines that I say all the time from Airplane, and it's an obscure reference, but it's the Jim never has a second cup of coffee at home. Mm-hmm. I didn't know for a very long time that is based on a 70s coffee commercial for shitty coffee.
I remember that commercial.
Was it Maxwell House or something like that? It was. I think it was instant coffee, which is like the worst
Maxwell
of coffee.
House,
yeah,
I think it was Maxwell House.
And I just liked it because there's something hilarious about something that is abnormal, and then just saying, Jim never has a second cup of coffee at home. Then if the problem persists, I can even follow up with Jim never vomits at home. So it's also funny too when you say this kind of stuff. Every now and then someone will go like, "Is that Airplane?"
Well, I think the one that most people will say and not know where it's from is "Don't Call Me Shirley."
Oh, right, right. Which the 25th anniversary DVD was called the "Don't Call Me Shirley" edition, and they, shame on whoever, but they lazily packaged the Blu-ray as the 25th anniversary and just like copied and pasted essentially. I mean, yes, the quality of film is better, the HD quality, but there's no new bonus features or stuff. I guess that's where I was like, I want more. But there is a lot of fun stuff on there because you get interviews with Peter Graves, Leslie Nielsen, all these guys before they died basically. So it's cool because you have all this kind of fun stuff and these guys talking about it before they passed. And, at that point, I mean, Peter Graves wasn't exactly a young buck, in the movie when it came out. And so then 25 years later, Same thing with Leslie Nielsen, but
and Lloyd Bridges.
Yeah, actually, most of them.
And Robert Stack, like all four of those guys. Yeah.
You know, I was going to say earlier, but after 25 years, I wonder how they saw the movie differently over time, because you know it is a movie that grows with you. Because I know I saw it when I was super young.
Mm-hmm.
And then, 5 years later, you watch it again, and you take away very different things. And now, as an adult with kids, I certainly see it very differently. And
for sure. I watched this a million times when I was a kid.
Can't wait to watch with them.
Peter Graves basically said what you just said, that at the time, he was like, why did I sign up to do this movie? And he was just like, and he admitted it. He's like, I just didn't get it. And when the movie came out and it was successful, he was so surprised, and then it was in hindsight that he was like, oh my God, these guys are geniuses. I didn't get it, but they knew exactly what they wanted, and then they did it. And
was this their first movie?
Technically, Kentucky Fried Movie was their first movie, but this is, you could argue that this is their first.
Jerry Abrams in the
Zaz, as we'll know to call him.
Exactly.
But Kentucky Fried Movie is basically a series of sketches. And this is their first, you could argue, feature as one storyline, from start to finish. All three of them were credited as directors, and I think this was the only time that all three of them did that.
And they had to finagle. Confusing. The reason why they were using it, didn't one of them, I can't remember the details, you'd probably know this, because they couldn't have, at the time, you couldn't have three directors. So didn't David Abrams put Zucker on the end of his name or something like that? Isn't that how that went?
No, they were able to share the directing credit, but in subsequent movies they realized that they needed to kind of organize their roles better, and they kind of naturally gravitated to their spots. Like I believe David became sort of the director as far as like the quintessential, a director, and then the other two were more like working with the actors. So you got one guy that's focusing more on the technical and the scene visuals, and the other guys are working the scenes with the actors and stuff. So they kind of divvied up the responsibilities. I think in this one, because it was new for all of them, because Landis directed Kentucky Fried Movie, so none of them had directed that. But in Airplane, I think because they were all technically at the helm, it was also not exactly headless chicken, but it was kind of like, am I doing this one? Or you want to? Okay, you could, all right, we'll figure it out. So I think it just kind of, again, I think this is just one of those things where it's like everything just magically worked out so perfectly. Not that they planned it to be this way, it just did. I mean, they certainly had the vision of what they wanted, but I don't think they could have fathomed that the movie would become, in most lists, a top 5 comedy of all time. I mean, I don't think anyone.
Well, even when they were pitching it to Paramount, they were like, "Oh, it's Animal House, but on a plane."
And we can actually get into that with this. I will go into a little film background. So with the Zucker brothers and Abrams. That is Jerry Zucker, David Zucker, and Jim Abrams. Their first feature film was Kentucky Fried Movie in 1977. So the Zucker brothers and Abrams got started on a small sketch comedy theater group in 1971 called the Kentucky Fried Theater. This is while they were in college in Madison, Wisconsin. They moved the theater to Los Angeles roughly a year later, and this is where they were able to kind of begin fostering their comedy style, which is now characterized by parodies, lots of visual gags, breaking the fourth wall. They will eventually be so good at creating slapstick that they will essentially kill off the genre, so to speak, but that's an entirely different story. So Zucker, Abrams, Zucker, sometimes referred to as Zaz. They knew that their sketches could translate to film, and that is ultimately what led to the debut film, Kentucky Fried Movie. At the time, they felt more comfortable bringing in a director, so what became the launching pad for John Landis, which we talked about in our season finale, the Twilight Zone movie, so we're not going to relive John Landis. But the success of Kentucky Fried Movie is ultimately what gets John Landis Animal House. So there goes his career. So originally they had written the sophomore effort as a sketch follow-up, similar to Kentucky Fried Movie, with this airplane, gotta yell it now, segment being their biggest segment, not unlike A Fistful of Yen that was in Kentucky Fried Movie. That'll make sense to some people and others not. But with commercial parodies littered all around it. So essentially, there was going to be an airplane story, but there was going to be all these breakups in the story with commercial parody, which would also be extremely dated by today's standards because no one would know the commercials that they're parodying. So the idea behind Kentucky Fried Movie was as if you're flipping through the channels. And so Airplane was originally thought up in a similar fashion where you're watching a crappy movie on TV. And like their debut, they were struggling to get a studio to pick up their project until I think it was Paramount, a Paramount executive that suggested to just get rid of the commercial parodies and do this airplane bit. So a fun aside, Zaz is often credited as the original commercial parody makers. It's kind of weird to think that no one was making fun of a commercial before them, but that's apparently what it is. So anyway, this was a good and bad news because their airplane segment was an extremely bastardized parody of a 1950s disaster film called 0 Hour, which comes with an exclamation point on the end of the title. And so to carry out their idea for a feature about just the airplane, they had to acquire the rights to the 1957 movie. You can actually go over to YouTube, and I recommend this if y'all haven't done it. You can watch side-by-sides of Airplane and 0 Hour together and see how much they copied. Mm-hmm. And it's genius because they took a crappy and serious disaster film, and with some very specific choices, they made a parody disaster film that to this day is in the top 5, if not the top 3 of virtually any comedy film list. They also parody bits of other airplane disaster films peppered throughout the movie Airport. I should have written it down. But several disaster movies of the era, because I guess that kind of comes in and out of popularity as disaster movies. It kind of feels like it's been a while since we've had I'm trying to think what was the last one. Not 2012, but that's the one that comes to mind.
I mean, it's switched to like apocalyptic movies, like post-apocalyptic movies.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, those are disaster movies.
That's what's in vogue.
Don't Look Up was pretty close.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
That's true.
But again, post-apocalyptic, or pre-apocalyptic, I guess. Right. Pre.
I also recommend, if you can easily find 0 Hour, you can probably find it on YouTube for free. You can do it either way. You can watch Airplane first, then 0 Hour, or watch 0 Hour, then Airplane. That's also actually fun to do because it's absurd how much similarity there is. So, for example, the pilots get sick. It's food on the plane. All the passengers getting sick. There's a guy that flew in the war who has PTSD, and he's on the plane because he's trying to talk to his estranged girlfriend who is a stewardess. I mean, it's essentially the same plot. And they even took line for line all the bad drama
It's
stuff.
from like a Pulp Fiction or like a Pulp.
No, that's 0 Hour.
Oh, it's in 0 Hour.
Like it is line for line 0 Hour. Like all the Ted and
okay.
Their banter back and forth is line for line from 0 Hour. It's like it's so bad they didn't need to do anything to it.
I thought you were talking about the announcers in the beginning of the movie at the airport.
Oh, I'll get into that.
Oh, okay.
That's
Sorry, I didn't mean to jump the gun.
That's down in the trivia section, which is weird because this is all trivia. But anyway, so here's the plot for 0 Hour. This is from IMDb. In 1950s Canada, during a routine commercial flight, the pilots and some passengers suffer food poisoning, thus forcing an ex-World War II pilot to try and land the airliner in heavy fog. Sound familiar? And then I went ahead and got Airplane plot, From IMDb, after the crew becomes sick with food poisoning, a neurotic ex-fighter pilot must safely land a commercial airplane full of passengers. Probably the worst description of the movie Airplane ever.
Terrible.
It's very bland.
Yeah, not good.
Very bland. So that right there should give you a good idea that they're pretty much the same movie. I can't. I'm trying to remember how I first learned about Zero Hour. I want to say a friend had just brought it to my attention, and then I had watched it, and I was jaw dropped because, again, yet like everything else in the show, it's going to date me. This is before you were really watching movies online and everything. This is in the early 2000s. So I actually had to go find a copy of Zero Hour and then watch it. And but it was pretty amazing to see because it was like it's almost like you saw into a parallel universe. Like I know this movie, but I don't know this movie kind of thing. So I want to open up some questions to the group. And in terms of Airplane, and anyone feel free to go first, what do y'all like, dislike about the movie? Maybe also, had you seen this movie originally as a child? I know that you mentioned that, Collier, but what is it about the movie that y'all particularly found attractive or maybe not? You know, what was it for y'all?
It's hard not to love Leslie Nielsen.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Can do no wrong.
That's as a kid, I was immediately hooked and wanted to watch every single one of the movies that he was in.
I think he only has 5 combined minutes of screen time too, but you don't even notice it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, this led to the Naked Gun
Yeah.
franchise as well.
He's peppered so perfectly through the movie. Even that introduction when it's like, "Excuse me, are you a doctor?" He's just got a stethoscope on him. Yes, I am. What about you, Justin?
Yeah, I loved every bit. Loved the slapstick. Yeah, the first Leslie Nielsen movie I saw was Naked Gun. And so it took me a while to find Airplane. Yeah, like you said, it feels like he's in there for way longer than like 5 minutes.
I almost chose Naked Gun actually for this exercise, and the reason I chose Airplane, because I love both of these movies, but the reason I chose Airplane is because you wouldn't have Naked Gun without Airplane, and Airplane stands strongly on its own. Kentucky Fried Movie is not for everyone, but Airplane is so universal in, I mean, here it is, this movie's from the 70s, and there's still airplane-related jokes that we're still laughing at today, even though so much has changed in the airline industry from then to now. But it's too comically universal. And for anyone that's not American listening to this, our airlines suck. They have sucked for a long time. Each time you start to get defending of them, and then you go on some other country's flights, and you're like, oh, wow, this really is better. And there's just something about Airplane, the movie, that also just taps into that like mediocrity of airlines, American Airlines, not the company American. I mean, kind of, well, y'all get it. Heather Ray, what about you?
I mean, I saw this movie a million times when I was a kid.
Yeah.
For sure. And hadn't seen it in a very long time. So I want to thank you for encouraging us to watch it. I do feel like it, and I'm not opposed to boy humor, but I do feel like it resonates with men more than
It's definitely
women.
guy humor. I mean, there's pointless boob shots.
I mean, I'm all about some stupid boy movies. Like, I'm all about it. But, I mean, this was, I think, the first type of this movie that I saw. And as a kid, I mean, God, it was amazing, you know?
The Jell-O jiggling and the panning camera to the boobs jiggling. I mean, even as a child, I thought that was absolutely hilarious without even being like, boobs, because I was just a kid. But there was just something about, I was like, it's so stupid. It's hilarious. That's what's great about it.
But I will tell you, I think, I mean, aside from Leslie Nielsen, because, again, can do no wrong, Steven Stucker, who plays Johnny, is my favorite character in the whole movie.
Oh, yeah.
Aside from Leslie Nielsen. Yes. He improvised all of his lines.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the studio was actually kind of against him being in the movie because he wasn't a name and because his comedy style and improv was not in the same tone as the movie, and yet
though.
It works though. It works. He's the only, because I think their logic was he's not deadpanning. He's not as serious. You have one guy who actually is zany, while no one else is playing.
I think that's
zany.
why he resonates so much.
Exactly, because he's the only one. I think is why it does work. Yeah, he's fantastic. So another question for y'all, in terms of comedies, where would y'all sort of rank this for you? I mean, you don't have to officially give me your top 5, but in what regards do you maybe hold this movie compared to some of your other comedy favorites?
I'll say it's not even in my top 10.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now I want to know your top 10.
I mean, I'm.
You don't have to.
Yeah, I don't know if on the spot right now I'd be able to do that, but
I'd agree. I wouldn't put it in my top 10. Maybe in my top 20. But I think I would put Naked Gun way above it, just because that was what I kind of came up with.
Yeah.
And even though it does
I watched
hold,
that way more when I was younger.
Yeah. I mean, I think I saw that a lot when I
not
was a
gonna
kid too.
For me, it was actually Wrongfully Accused.
Wrongfully Accused?
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
And Dracula Dead and Loving It. Yeah.
Wow.
Those were on rotation quite a bit.
At least you didn't say Spy Hard. I mean, it could have been worse. That movie was so bad, not even Leslie Nielsen could save it. I almost walked out of the theater when I saw Spy Hard. It was really bad. I should go rewatch it, though, out of curiosity.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
Yeah, I mean, it can't get worse with time. I know that. Like, if anything, it's improved if I saw it again. But it was just a not well done movie. But anywho's.
Well, it's like Airplane is a total take on 0 Hour. I feel like as a kid, I wouldn't have known that.
No.
But
I didn't know that until we started doing this.
But The Fugitive was one of my first mature viewings.
Right.
So then, as far as parody and slapstick goes, that's why Wrongfully Accused was like the first one that Leslie Nielsen was in, where it clicked the entire way through.
And correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't the cover of Wrongfully Accused, he's holding the arm?
I think so.
I like, in the train is behind him or something like that.
I think it's the train behind him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that part.
So I guess last question for y'all right now is, do y'all have a what would you consider your, like, we're talking about Leslie Nielsen specifically right now, but in general, if you had to sort of say in no particular order a top movie or top 3 favorite comedy, like, if off the top of your head, what would you say is your favorite comedy?
I hate these questions. I hate this
That's
question.
Why I said in no particular
because
order.
It just depends on the day. Certain things hit different on different days, different times of your life, different. I don't know if I could, because I mean.
I like subgenres. Like, are we talking like a dramedy versus a spoof versus?
Right. There's just so many.
It helps me narrow it down.
I mean, dark comedy.
Yeah, dark comedy.
See,
so.
I separate it out by what do I personally consider my favorite versus what do I think is the best. So if I'm trying to rate what I think one of the best comedies of all time is, Airplane's going to be in there every single time.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm telling you what my personal favorites are, it's probably in my top 30.
Right.
So,
Yeah. It is hard. I know I'm killing my own question, but it's.
We're being very political right now by skirting the question.
The reason
my number one is my movie pick for this.
Oh, that's true.
Summer miniseries,
which we'll have to keep secret for now. Yeah. Yeah, and I did have.
We
it
all picked comedies.
Yeah,
I did.
Every single one of us.
So would that be our favorite comedy?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say that mine is my favorite comedy, but it is one of my favorite movies.
That would make sense.
I did put in here in parentheses, it's okay not to answer if you want to tease your pick before it's announced.
And I'll just say, my favorite might be considered a comedy to a lot of people, but it makes me cry 5 times every.
Oh yeah, mine makes me cry every time.
I'm really looking forward to yours, just to tease the Collier's. I like Collier's choice, but you don't get to know it
And
yet.
the funny thing is, your movie, Collier, and my movie have very similar underlying messages.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I like that.
Oh yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah.
Wow, we are really not doing a service to listeners.
Teasing.
So
let's tease even more. Did we send that in the group text? Was it? Do I know Collier's movie? Should I?
I believe so.
Okay, I'll figure it out. That's right. Yes, I do know. Yes. Oh yeah. Y'all are right. Now I'm in on it.
Y'all don't get to know though.
We're the worst.
We are the
I
worst.
just did the weakest gesture with my hand.
I know that.
There's your hint.
This is why we need to be doing video because that would have been a giveaway, but also
dead giveaway
just to see Collier doing it. Anyway, it all makes sense later. Okay, so. Getting into favorite moments and things like why this movie is resonates so much for me and I think a lot of people. I was talking about the obscure quotes such as Jim never has a second cup of coffee at home. And we've talked about pretty much anything Leslie Nielsen says.
Well, and that's the thing. Like this movie, even though it stands up, it's very dated. Yeah. It's a very dated movie. I mean, just like smoking on a plane. I mean, like just that in itself, you know?
It makes me wish that there were more comedies being made like this. And it also makes me wish that planes and flying were still like that. I miss the smoke on planes.
Same.
How did
y'all? I always say.
Did y'all
I don't
notice?
Smoke, but I need a smoke
Those
on a plane.
seats were so much bigger, too.
An obnoxious cigar. Did y'all... Excuse me, for the hundreds of times I've seen this movie, I didn't notice until I was rewatching the overhead compartments didn't have doors. Did y'all notice?
I did notice that.
All the luggage is just out in the open. And then I started going like, there was a time when those things were just like, I guess how you imagine the like stereotypical like third world country bus in a movie,
like a bus.
And there's always a lady holding a chicken or something like that.
Always a chicken.
Yeah.
Goat sometimes, depending where you are.
Movie stereotypes. But that was something that I was like, have I noticed that before? But
by the way, not just in movies, on buses in other countries.
That's
confirmed.
True. That's true. You can attest to
confirmed.
We won't say the country. We don't want to offend anybody.
Multiple.
I only know of one. I only know of one you've been to. But one other thing about Leslie Nielsen that I wanted to bring up is he had a fart machine that he was using on set. Basically, when you think of a sound effects gag, kind of thing, and he absolutely loved just doing fart.
There's actually on YouTube, you can look it up, and I would highly recommend that you do. There's an interview that Leslie Nielsen does, and I can't remember who the interview is with.
That's it.
That's what you're talking about.
That's
I thought you said on set. Oh, okay.
Well, he was doing it on set.
Okay, but there's like a separate interview, and he keeps trying, but he's using this fart machine through the whole, like deadpan completely, and it's hilarious.
Yeah.
I mean...
He basically
so funny.
He shows you the examples of it, but that was another thing for Zaz was Leslie Nielsen shows up and he's using like a fart machine. So like, who is this guy? Like they didn't know him personally or anything like that, so nobody knew that this guy was going to be coming with like toilet humor pranks and stuff like that. But then that's part of the falling in love with Leslie Nielsen because you wouldn't have Naked Gun in this whole second career for Leslie Nielsen if this crazy guy hadn't shown up, this middle-aged guy that's just making fart sounds and stuff. And you're like, who did we hire? But I bet at the same time, I love it.
The perfect person.
Yeah, and he was just perfect. So there are so many subtle things that are fantastic in the movie. I love little touches that can speak volumes. To give you an example, when the media gets a hold of the situation, the film shows the breaking news around the world. It starts with the newscaster. In fact, it's the same newscaster that's in Kentucky Fried Movie. But then it goes international, and there's Japan. And eventually somewhere, I'm guessing, is like Polynesia, where he's not speaking, but he's tapping sticks on what looks like a wooden xylophone. And what I love is he changes his gaze to his left for the camera change once he's handed the breaking news, just like you'd see in a real news studio. That's what's such a small, wonderful touch, where it's like you see the hand come in to give him the breaking news, and then like normal local news, he has to turn attention to a second camera. And it's just those little touches I love, because otherwise it's, insanely silly that this guy is delivering news on like a wooden instrument of some kind. But I also quietly love the film score. A little trivia here, Elmer Bernstein was tasked with composing a score worthy of a B movie. And I think he pulled it off magnificently. And to give you an idea of Elmer Bernstein, if you're not familiar with him, of his actual chops, some highlights from his resume include An American Werewolf in London, Trading Places, Ghostbusters, Three Amigos, My Left Foot, The Grifters, Good Son, and many others. A few other things. Robert Stack beating up religious donation people to this day gives me so much joy and satisfaction.
He did his own stunts in that,
He did his own stunts.
Yeah.
That was my next sentence.
Sorry, Jed.
No, it's okay. You
Steal
said
your thunder.
No, you said it before I read it, because then I was like, and he's doing it without a stunt. Oh, yeah. Get out of my head.
I know stuff.
It doesn't matter that you don't see these people at airports anymore, because we have thoughts of doing this to all kinds of groups of people all the time. So I think the satisfaction is still there. But Airplane, it's delightfully quotable. It leads me to the last reason that I love this movie so much that I alluded to earlier. So if you know me well, or if you're around me on a project and I'm quoting this movie a lot, then you should know, or you probably already know, that there's a high chance that I am very stressed out. And that's because years ago, my brain randomly chose this movie to inject with endorphins into my body when I'm dealing with high stress on a film set, because a comedy disaster movie is apparently how I cope with work disasters around me. So
laugh or cry.
I don't know if that puts me on the spectrum or what that means. I just know it's a thing.
Don't think too hard on it.
Probably shouldn't. It'll hurt myself. Brain, ow. It's worked out wonderfully, though, for me over the years. So lines such as, looks like I picked up the wrong day to quit sniffing glue, or Anti-M, it's a twister, fit in very well when you're in the midst of challenges on a problematic film set.
And Leon is getting larger.
Right. So as I wind this down, I want to say this is all trivia that I've learned, or new impressions, such as the overhead baggage that I hadn't noticed before. So like I mentioned, I've seen this movie thousands of times, probably 4 gajillion, I think, if I had to be technical.
Keeps getting higher and higher, the
I know.
number.
It was this many, and that was a lot of fingers I just held up. So there's a shot in a closed section of the airport. I think they're shooting in LAX. I mean, it has to be LAX, right? But commuters are still passing through the area. It's when Ted first tries to stop Elaine before they've boarded the flight, and they're in like a corridor. The commuters are passing through the area, and not only was there nothing they could really do about it, but it meant that most of the background in the airport were real people. And costume trivia here. So costume-wise, they wanted the clothing to be kind of 1950s, but tame, as an homage, again, to the movies they were spoofing, but also a bit timeless. But the clothes in the airport are clearly 70s, if you're paying attention, because...
When you started saying it, I'm like, I don't recall seeing 50s silhouettes
I think,
in the airport.
I think a lot of the suit choices on the men, like that kind of stuff, they were trying to keep them sort of neutral, was the thinking behind it.
And it's probably why they had, those 4 guys that
Right.
had never done comedy before doing it too, because it was a throwback to that time as well. And so people automatically, their brains kind of go there.
This was a crazy one. I had to go back and look. there's a grip running cable that's in the shot in that same scene, in that corridor scene.
But Robert Stack was so good.
Oh, no,
Don't even notice.
This is the beauty of making a movie like this. Because they were intentionally making a B movie, it also gave them the liberty of leaving a lot of mistakes in the movie. So even later, they're like, leave it in. So who cares? Awesome. It grips in the shot.
I kind of love that. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Makes it better.
A couple of other mistakes that made the final cut. When Captain Over gets called to answer the white courtesy phone and instead grabs the red phone, the woman over the intercom corrects him, no, the white phone. You can briefly hear the script supervisor laughing. There's some funny irony in there for anyone that knows film sets that scripty is usually who is the one pointing out continuity errors and making those notes and everything. So for them to be the continuity error or the laughing mistake is actually pretty great. And again, they left it in. The second thing of this I want to mention is during the disco flashback, one of my favorite scenes in the movie, Saturday Night Fever ripoff, when Julie Haggerty is spinning Robert Hayes and she lets go where he does a large back flip into the crowd. That stuntman that flips and lands and the actor Robert Hayes runs back in. If you look, you can see Robert Hayes waiting in the back of the crowd to run in as the stuntman is landing.
Nice.
I love it so much. The convertible that we see Robert Stack driving in the movie was actually Robert Hayes' real car at the time, and it was the love of his life. He called it Sally because it was a Mustang.
They used it for 2 days, and he got paid $35 a day to use that car.
He was very excited. I got that piece off of the bonus features from the Don't Call Me Shirley edition. The two black jive-talking actors are real friends in real life. Going back to high school, Al White and Norman Alexander Gibbs were the two first to audition for those roles, and they were hired immediately because not only did they understand the assignment, but they ad-libbed fake jive dialogue better than, and I quote, 3 white kids from Minnesota could do, to quote Jim Abrams. And as a result, they not only wrote all of their own dialogue, but they also wrote all the dialogue for and coached actress Barbara Billingsley, who is the mom lady.
But was the mom on Leave It to Beaver.
Was she?
Yes.
Wait, that wasn't... No, I'm thinking of Lassie. That was June Locker.
They originally wanted Harriet from Ozzie and Harriet, but they got Barbara Billingsley.
That's fun trivia.
Yeah.
The whole reason for Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is...
Wait. Before I have a little trivia from about the jive talking dudes.
Yeah.
So internationally, when they did it in Germany, none of that was going to make sense. So they gave those guys, they dubbed it, but they gave them Bavarian accents.
Oh, right.
And that was apparently the funniest thing in the entire... Because not only was, they think Bavarian accents are hilarious, but it was 2 black dudes doing Bavarian accents.
I want to see that.
So they thought that it was, that was the loudest laugh in the theater, usually, when in Germany.
Bavaria is also in the South. What are they trying to say in this?
Yeah, you know what they're trying to say.
Always anti-Southern. Mm-hmm. So Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is fascinating. And again, I did not know any of this until I read it. The whole reason for him being in the movie, so in the original 0 Hour, it was a former football player that was one of the pilots. So Zaz wanted to put their own athlete or just not an actor into their film. They originally wrote the part for Pete Rose, of all people, but they shot in the summer, so baseball was in season, and he had to decline. Agents had reached out to other athletes, and the offer to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was for $30,000. His agent said that he will do it for $35,000 because there's an Oriental rug he wants to buy, and that's the price tag. They agreed, and later a photo of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and his rug surfaced, proving that it was his real reason and not just the agent speaking some kind of rhetoric or excuse. He literally said, if you add $5,000, I'll do it because there's a rug I want to buy. That's wow. David Letterman did screen tests for Ted Stryker before the part went to Robert Hayes. Letterman had also auditioned for the part of the main newscaster in Kentucky Fried Movie, so they were already familiar with him. there's a lot. That's a whole other can of worms. But David Letterman has all this almost stuff in his career past before he is the David Letterman we know. And it's just weird to think of like him as a successful stand-up because he had done stand-up, but he just got out of it. Him getting acting roles that he didn't get, but he almost got. Like, it's I don't know. It's weird.
Well, there are a lot of people also for Leslie Nielsen's role that were. They originally wanted Dom DeLuise for him, and then
which
the second
doesn't
guy
make sense because
Vincent Price, and Vincent Price turned it down.
Well, that would have made sense.
And he was pissed that he turned it down, and there was somebody else too that turned it down and was very upset. And I can't
also, Bill
remember
Hader does an amazing Vincent Price impression.
Of course, he does. Yeah. Again, somebody else who can do no wrong.
Yeah, I don't want to get too derailed, but Lorne Michaels apparently, when he did the Vincent Price impression and he went backstage after the sketch was over, supposedly Lorne goes, "Vincent Price, why now? why do it now?" Anyway, so I'm saving the best for last. The last thing I'm going to mention is some bonkers trivia. So, and Heather Ray was sort of teasing at it earlier. So in the opening, you hear a man and a woman's voice over the airport PA going back and forth about the white zone versus the red zone. It's always been funny. I did not know that there's a lot more to this. Zaz got the actual man and woman that did the recordings for many airports back at that time. They were married in real life. And it gets a little wilder. They also sold the PA systems to the airport, so that was their full hustle.
So I love that hustle.
I know. There's the salespeople and the voices for the airport PA. I mean, God, wow.
And then they're in a movie.
Yeah.
I'm curious what they made more money on.
Rentals. PA system. PA system.
Or royalties.
100%.
Or royalties from the voices.
Well, Robert Hayes was offered a cut of the proceeds or $20,000, and he took $20,000.
Well, I mean, he was young and he needed money. I get it.
Yeah, but talk about regret.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'd have taken the $20,000.
Yeah.
I'm done like that.
There's no way at the time anyone would have been like, this is going to be a historical blockbuster of a movie. There's no way you could have fathomed that. So there's a lot of crazy and random trivia for this movie that I'm not mentioning here. If you really want to deep dive into airplane movie trivia, I recommend, as I've said, the 25th anniversary DVD or the Blu-ray. It just has all kinds of fun bonus feature, bonus trivia. All the interviews are great. The Zaz interviews are fantastic. Peter Graves, Leslie Nielsen, the married couple where Jim never vomits at home. They're even in there with their son, who's the one that goes to the cockpit that gets all the weird, ambiguous, questions from Peter Graves. Do you ever watch gladiator movies?
Well, the original, have you ever seen the inside of a cockpit before? Do you know what the original line was?
Oh, yeah, it was much dirtier.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And it is, I mean, especially these days, it's like, ooh.
It's icky. It's icky, but also it's not ambiguous, which is what makes it so funny.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you take the ambiguity away and just make it direct, like gross and sexual, then it's like, well, that's not funny. That's just, like you're saying. So I want to wrap it up. We have, I think, said about everything we can say about Airplane. I hope y'all enjoyed this coverage. Any final thoughts before I wrap us out and we tease next week's?
I think we've covered it.
Did I?
I mean, I have little bits of trivia, randos, but
that's why I just finished with "There's a lot more."
There's a lot more, yeah.
Yeah, and also to keep us from our 2.5-hour Rocky episodes.
Right.
So
that couldn't be helped.
Too much good trivia. So the last thing I wanted to say to close this out this episode is a quote I heard from Jerry Zucker saying in an interview that's in the bonus features, and he was talking about the crazy requests they would make to crew, and this is just a shout out to my department. But he said, a good prop man can come up with anything. And I wholeheartedly agree, Jerry. And there is that little, there is little that gives me greater satisfaction than pulling off these kinds of challenges, because that's always prop satisfaction, is like, what else can I pull out of my magical ass?
I have a question for you as
Yeah.
a props person. When Leslie Nielsen's nose grows, is that props?
It's effects.
Would that be props or effects?
No, it's
Okay.
effects. Because
That makes sense.
it's makeup effects with special effects, because you have a prosthetic and you have an actively growing.
Totally makes sense. Yeah.
Which, since you brought it up, that's a broom handle, because they could only get it to extend so far, and so when they could only get his growing nose to go so far, that's why the camera angle changes to the back of his head, because what you're seeing in the continuing growing is an actual broom handle that's been pushed. So, like I said, there's plenty more trivia. So next week we will be going to Heather Ray's pick, which will be what, Heather Ray?
Harold and Maude.
Yay!
I'm very excited.
I love that, and that sounds amazing. I can't wait. I already know a little bit of friction that we might be getting into that came up in text, but you guys got to wait till next week for all that. So thank you, and all right, till next week.
Do you like what we're doing here? Do you have thoughts, comments, questions? Maybe you have an idea or suggestion for topics you want to hear about? Well, you can find us on the interwebs. You can email us at filmfolklorepodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on the social medias, Instagram being Film Folklore Podcast. We have a Facebook group called Film Folklore, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, at The Film Folk. And thanks for joining us today.
Bye, folks.